Hey there guys, John Campea here. Thanks for visiting my movie vlog. You know, Avengers Infinity War is now right around the corner. And the big topic most people seem to want to talk about is who's going to die in this film, because we're expecting some significant character deaths along the way. Will it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 of them? We don't know right now, but we're going to find out pretty soon. So I thought I would take this opportunity to take 25 characters from the upcoming Avengers Infinity War and rank them from least to most likely to die and give you guys the odds, and then throw it open to you guys and listen to see what you guys think about the odds I'm placing on them. Now, before we get into the rankings of least to highest, I'm going to go right off the top and tell you the least likely to die and the most likely to die, because these two probably aren't very suspenseful anyway. I believe the least likely character to die in this movie comes in the form of Spider-Man. I'm giving Spider-Man just a 2% chance of dying in this film, which means it's still potentially possible that he could die, I suppose. But obviously a couple big things factoring into this. Number one, they really just got Spider-Man going in the MCU. Number two, we already know there's another Spider-Man coming after Avengers 4. It's going to be difficult to do that if he's dead. So while it's conceivably possible, he is the least likely to die in this movie. I got him ranked at 2%. The most likely character to die in Avengers Infinity War, I think, is the presumptive favorite that most people seem to agree on, and that's this: Loki. Loki is most likely to die. He comes in head and shoulders above everybody else at a 78%, which means, it's still possible he lives. There could be some misdirection going on with the trailers. It's possible, but by far the most likely. Look, Loki's been in a lot of the movies. He's been around pretty much since the incarnation of the MCU, all the way back to the first Thor movie. He's been used heavily. He's been around a lot. If you want to have somebody that's going to die, then maybe he'll have some big emotional impact to the audience and to some key characters like Thor. He's the one who's got to go. So the least likely character to die is Spider-Man. The most likely to die, according to me at 78%, is Loki. All right, well, now let's start going through the rest of the characters. The next likely person to die after Spider-Man, coming in at just 5% chance, is T'Challa himself, Black Panther. 5% is extremely low. Look, his movie just set all types of box office records. He just had his first film. Wakanda is obviously going to be a key player in the MCU moving forward, so that's why I don't think you can rank Black Panther any higher than a 5% chance. Next up, we've got Star-Lord coming in at 11%. He's already had a couple of his own movies with the rest of the Guardians of the Galaxy. He's coming in here. But look, Chris Pratt is the leader of the whole franchise, other than James Gunn or Kevin Feige, obviously. Chris Pratt's the leader of this franchise. I think it's incredibly unlikely we're going to see him die. That's why I've got him coming in at just 11%. Next up, coming in at 12% is Ant-Man. I just think Paul Rudd is too valuable of a commodity to these guys. I don't think they're going to have him going anywhere. The existence of Ant-Man and the Wasp isn't a definitive thing that says he's not going to die, because, as we all know, most of that movie happens prior to the events of Avengers Infinity War. How that's all going to work out, I'm not really sure, but I still think it's really unlikely he's going to die. I've got Ant-Man listed at 12%. Next up, at 14% chance, is Shuri, of course, coming out of Black Panther as well. She's T'Challa's little sister. It just seems to me that they are setting her up to have a larger role in the MCU than just that of T'Challa's little sister. Now, the reason I give her 14% still instead of a little bit smaller of a chance is because, again, her death would have major impact on somebody like T'Challa. So that's why there's a chance and why it's as high as 14%, but still pretty low. Also pretty low, coming in at 16%, also from Black Panther, is Okoye. Again, all the Black Panther characters, T'Challa himself, Shuri, and Okoye, they're just getting going. The only reason Okoye is coming in at 15% here is because, again, the emotional impact that it could potentially have on T'Challa, but still, I only rank her in at 15%. Coming up next at 18% is another relative newcomer to the MCU, Doctor Strange. I just feel like they've got plans for him. Now, the reason I go as high as 18% is because while Doctor Strange was a success, it wasn't a big, huge blockbuster hit, but still, they've just got going with this character. I think it's pretty unlikely, so I won't go any higher than 18% on him. Sharing Doctor Strange's 18%, I'm going to go Rocket Raccoon. Look, he's just too marketable. He's just too marketable. And for the most part, I think most of the Guardians characters are a little safe. Some Guardians characters are going to have a higher chance than you might think of dying, but Rocket certainly ain't one of them. He comes in at 18%. Coming in next at 20% chance of kicking it in Infinity War is Black Widow. The only reason I would say that she's even this high is because she has been around the MCU an awful lot. They've already used her a whole ton in the MCU. You could make an argument that it could be time for her to go. However, the reason I keep it as low as 20% is because Kevin Feige's been pretty clear on this in the past. They love the Black Widow character. And they think as a character, she can be used very diversely across a lot of different films. She's just too handy of a tool to have in the filmmaker's belts. So I really don't think there's that high of a chance. I have her going as high as 20%. Next up, also from Guardians of the Galaxy, we got Gamora coming in at a 22% chance. Again, I don't think many of the core Guardians of the Galaxy members are going anywhere. We know there's a Guardians of the Galaxy 3 coming. The reason I rank her this high is her close relationship to Thanos himself. Because of that, there could be drama involved here with maybe Thanos killing her. We saw in the trailers that they've even shown us a flashback scene of Gamora as a little girl with Thanos. Could that set up the drama of him killing Gamora? Unlikely, pretty damn unlikely. She's too key of a character for the Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't see her going anywhere, but I will put her as high as 22%. Coming in next, another Guardians character, coming at 24%, is, I guess we can't call him Baby Groot anymore, Teen Groot. Why? Well, they've killed a Groot already before, so that does give us an opportunity for that. Guardians of the Galaxy could stand to maybe lose a character. Maybe it could be Groot. Again, though, I think it's pretty unlikely. That's why I'm not willing to go any higher than 24% on Groot. Okay. Now we've gone from massively unlikely characters, we get into the, hey, look, it's really conceivable that these characters could die. And we start off at a 31% chance of dying with, also from Guardians of the Galaxy, Drax the Destroyer. Drax is hot-headed. He's looking for vengeance. He wants to kill Thanos. He seems to be a character that his death could cause a bit of an impact. Also, since he is the mighty Drax the Destroyer, he could provide a really nice tool narratively for Thanos to show just how powerful he is by taking care of Thanos maybe pretty easily. Again, not likely that he's going to die, but pretty good high chance. I'm going to put him in at 31%. And for the same reasons we're talking about him, that he could prove to be a good visual lesson for how powerful Thanos is, we come on to our next character at 32%, and that's Hulk. I mean, look, Hulk is like Black Widow in a way that he is very utilitarian. You can use Hulk in different people's movies. We've seen him used in Avengers. We saw him used very effectively in Thor Ragnarok. So I'm not going to go much higher than 32. But again, what other character would provide a great visual example of just how badass and how powerful Thanos is than having Thanos beat him up in the beginning when he's still on Thor's ship and maybe ultimately killing him in the movie? I'm not saying it's most likely, but I'm willing to go as high as 32%. Now let's move on to another Guardians of the Galaxy character, a relative newcomer at 34%. We're going to go with Mantis. I believe we're getting into some possibilities here. Mantis could buy, look, if you're looking for a quote-unquote expendable member of Guardians, if you wanted to have a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy die, Mantis is a pretty good option. The audience, you don't have the MCU really invested in her at this point. She's a relatively minor character right now. If you wanted to have a member of a team die, like the Guardians of the Galaxy, Mantis could be your girl for that they go for. All right, let's now start crawling up these ladders. Now we're jumping up to 40% chance here. And we got 3 characters sitting at 40%. And we're going to start things off here with Scarlet Witch. Why Scarlet Witch at 40%? Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, she's been a core member of the Avengers now for a little while. She's been in a number of the films. She's a tremendous actress, but she's been around. Could be time for her to go. On top of all that, we haven't really seen Scarlet Witch used in a really fundamental way. Like, she hasn't been an essential character, other than narratively, like the fact that Iron Man was, grounding her at Avengers home base. That became a point of contention, but it wasn't really that big. We haven't really seen them plug her in a really important narrative way. And it doesn't just feel to me right now like they have big plans for Scarlet Witch in the future. That's why right now I'm willing to go and imagine the impact on Captain America, who's clearly has a little bit of an attachment to her, almost as a little sister kind of role. Clearly have an impact on Vision. There's other people could have an impact on. I'm willing to go as high as 40% for Scarlet Witch. Staying at 40%. We're going to go Hawkeye. Again, he's like one of the founding members of the MCU. He's been around an awful long time, ever since the first Thor movie. But again, other than his like antagonist, mind-controlled role in the first Avengers film, they've never really found a way to make him an essential part of everything that's going on. I love this character personally, but they've never really seemed to find a way to make him an essential member of everything that's going on. Now, we have heard that he has a very specific role to play in Infinity War. So that means it's not automatic, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it could end up with him dying at the end. So I'm going to go 40%. The third character I have sitting at a 40% chance of dying here is Captain America. A lot of talk going around that since Chris Evans' current contract is up and all that kind of stuff, he's been around for a very long time, ever since Captain America, the first Avengers. A lot of talk that this could very well be, other than Avengers 4, which may not be flashback sequences or time traveling, we could see Captain America die in this movie. Again, I'm not willing to put him any higher than 40% because to me, Captain America and Chris Evans playing him is just the heart of the MCU. That character is the heart of the MCU. But still, all the other factors combined, I'm going as high as 40%. All right, next up at 41%, we're talking about War Machine here. Again, a character who's not terribly, it doesn't disrupt the plans of the MCU to lose this character, much like some of the other characters we've already mentioned. Again, too, his death would have a profound effect on Iron Man. You're looking for dramatic purposes in their deaths as well. We've seen War Machine have a couple of close calls before. I believe he is positioned right now that we very well could conceivably see him die. That's why I've got him as high as 41%. Also coming in at 41%, we got Thor himself. Again, much like a lot of the other original members of the Avengers, Chris Hemsworth is a guy whose contract has come up. We've seen Thor in a ton of the movies. It may be time for him to move on and to go. The only reason I don't go even higher than 41% on Thor right now is because of the great success that they just had with Thor Ragnarok. They love what he did in it, and Chris Hemsworth renewed his love for the character playing Thor again in Thor Ragnarok, working with Taika Waititi. That's why I'm not willing to go any higher than 41%, but still, on this scale, he's higher up on the scale. I've got Thor at 41% of dying in Infinity War. Next up, I believe the most likely person to die out of the Guardians of the Galaxy group, and that's Nebula. Again, I don't believe they have any long-term plans for the character, and her death could serve two very big dramatic purposes. Big dramatic purpose number one, dying at the hands of her own father. Dying at the hands of Thanos would be incredibly powerful in this movie. On top of that, her death would have a profound impact on Gamora as well. There's a lot of upside to a great dramatic death for Gamora. Not a lot of reasons to believe they have long-term plans for her, so I'm going to rank her as high as 42%. All right, we got 4 characters left to cover. Coming in at 45% chance of dying in Avengers Infinity War, we got Tony Stark. He is right there from the beginning of the MCU. He has been a core character in so many films, including the Avengers films, Civil War, his own Iron Man films, the Avengers films, SpiderMan Homecoming. He's been used a lot. And while he is one of the most beloved characters in the MCU, he could be primed to go. Look, Robert Downey Jr.'s played this character a long time. Another one, his extended deal is coming up to an end here pretty quickly. This could be the end for Iron Man. I've got him as the 4th or 5th most likely character to die out of all 25. Of course, Loki being number 1, but that's why I got him as high as 45%. All right. We go up now to 47% as we get into our final 3 characters we're talking about here. And at a 47% chance of dying is Bucky. Whether you want to call him Winter Soldier, whether you want to call him White Wolf, as we saw, of course, we know in the comic books, he becomes White Wolf. Or we know of the White Wolf character in the comics, the role that he plays. He's referred to as White Wolf at the end of Black Panther. It looks like some people speculated he'd become the next Captain America. I've always argued for a long time that there are too many problems involved with making him the next Captain America. That's unlikely. It looks like he's becoming White Wolf. And again, you want to talk about characters serving dramatic purpose? You're looking at a character who finally just redeemed himself a little bit. It looks like he's finally, as we learned in Black Panther's post-credit scenes, he's finally gotten past the mind control and all the garbage in his head. He's starting to heal. The tragedy of that guy now dying, not to mention the impact. There is no other character in the MCU that could die that would have a deeper impact on Captain America right now than the death of Bucky. I mean, there would be huge dramatic impact. Plus, I really don't know that there's much more places for them to go with Bucky, since his past, I think, kind of precludes him from becoming the next Captain America anyway. That's why I think there's a pretty darn good chance that we're going to see Bucky die in this thing. I got to list him at 47%. All right, coming in now at 50%, I'm going to go Heimdall. The great Idris Elba has been playing this character for a while. Why so high as 50%? Is he not useful anymore? Well, he could be very useful moving forward. However, he has played this character for a bit, and on top of that, he is on that ship at the end of Thor Ragnarok that Thanos and his Black Order intercept. We don't see anything of him in any of the trailers anywhere. That's why I'm willing to say, as much as I love this character and I'd love to see him stick around for a long time, on top of that, that if Thor does go, there's not a lot of use left for a Heimdall around. There are many different things here, including the death of Heimdall could be another big emotional thing to put on Thor's shoulders, on top of the death of his brother Loki. Lots of different things there. So that's why I'm willing to go up to 50% that Heimdall dies in this movie. All right, now the final character here to rank, coming in at 55%, that means likely to die in this movie. We're going to talk about Vision. We know that Thanos is after him. We know they want that stone. And look, there's just, I don't think, long-term plans for Vision at this point. That's why I agree with a lot of you guys who've been speculating that we're going to see Vision die in this film. I'm going to agree with you. I'm putting Vision sitting at 55%. It would be a sad goodbye to Paul Bettany out of the MCU. He's been around as the voice of Jarvis right from the beginning, but I do believe we're going to be looking at Vision at a 55%. So again, let's run down and highlight these things in quick order. I believe the least likely character to die here is Spider-Man at 2%. The most likely to die is going to be Loki at 78%. Then we've got Black Panther coming in at 5%. We got Star-Lord coming in at 11%. We've got Ant-Man at 12%. We got Black Panther Shuri at 14%. We got Black Panther's Okoye at 15%. We got Doctor Strange at 18%. Also at 18%, we got Rocket Raccoon. We got Black Widow coming in at 20%. Gamora coming in at 22%. Groot coming at 24%. Drax the Destroyer getting up there in likelihood at 31%. Could be possible we're going to see the end of the Hulk at 32%. The most likely of the Guardians cast, other than Nebula, is going to be Mantis. I got her at 34%. We move over now to Scarlet Witch, who I believe has a 40% of going, as well at 40% of Hawkeye, and of course, Captain America. At 41%, we've got War Machine. At 41%, also, we have Thor. Moving up to 42%, we got the most likely out of all the Guardians cast, Nebula, to die at 42%. We got Iron Man at 45%. Bucky, Winter Soldier, White Wolf, whatever you want to call him, at 47%. Heimdall into the 50% range. And then, of course, we got Vision at 55%. So, guys, that's me ranking 25 characters from Infinity War and their likelihood of dying. Do me a favor. What do you think about this list? Jump down in the comments section. Give me your list of these 25 characters, from least likely to most likely to die. Is your list pretty similar to mine? Is it way off from mine? Which one of these characters do you think I'm way off from? Jump down in there and let me know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks for joining me here. While you're here, why don't you take a second, click on the subscribe button on my YouTube channel here. Also, make sure you click that little bell button to be informed and notified of all the new videos that I've got coming up here. That'll do it for me, guys. My name's John Campea, and until my next video, bye-bye.